Good evening. So I am just going to give you guys a quick health update. I did go to Vancouver to see a dermatologist and confirm that that is vitiligo. The other skin conditions, of which I had 1, 2, 3, at least 3, 4 other conditions. They were just minor. They're all gone. 3 of them cleared up without my knowing exactly what went on, and 1 of them I had used Ryan's cream that he got. So their treatment for vitiligo is a steroid. It's not supposed to thin the skin. It's an expensive one. I got 10 refills. It's supposed to be the slow boat to China, but of course the side effects are it can cause skin cancer. So I'm not really going to be doing that method. I've looked at all the natural kind of things. It's kind of like a spontaneous, not really exactly dialed in. I did find a couple girls that actually run like a practice to deal with vitiligo, and they were getting good results, but of course you have to pay. And with the amount of natural things I do for my body, I think if I just kind of synergistically do those things, and then in particular I saw that copper and zinc in proper ratio with one another, kind of a higher dose, and fasting are very supportive. But the reality is I'm on one medication right now, and it impairs my immune system to some degree. So that's when, besides the fungus, which started when I was just super inflamed, like vulnerable, I guess. My immune system was down. The other ones all started after I started taking that biologic. So, and it's known to cause skin problems. So anyway, skin problems are kind of the least of my concern. So I thought I'd start with that. And the liver, the hardware is working. So there's a shunt and 2 stents in my liver. And the liver took, a long time to figure out what was wrong with it, because it isn't fatty liver and my enzymes had been always normal. Now they're on the high end, probably because they don't like hardware shoved into them. Anyway, they have never seen this pathology, and they've never tried what they did. So there's no literature on my situation, and they don't know. I think they feel nervous that the hardware will collapse, so they want to monitor it every 3 months. But I always think about teeth, because they say that crowns are only supposed to last 5 to 10 years, but some people get like 30, 35 years out of them, right? So who knows? They said they left enough space to stent it one more time, and then I would be looking at a liver transplant, which is a really dark market. So that's really weird. But anyway, I don't know. I'm day by day, and I'm not hanging on to much. So that's that. I feel fine. Like overall, I think that problem is working well enough for now. And I do pray over my liver that the metal just gets dissolved. I put my hands on my liver most days, so I always look down, but I need to look up. And that all of the blood vessels would just open up and let the blood pass through normally. So God, it's obviously not a big deal for him to do. It's what I need, a big miracle. So, relatively. Then my bowel, I've done tests with my GP and my naturopath. My calprotectin is supposed to be under 50, and it came back at 57 with my naturopath and 61 with my GP. So it's a little high, but a lot of people that are like actually inflamed, it'll be in the thousands. And some people actually use like a different range for their measuring stick in like different places. So some people would consider that in range, or like borderline enough that it's recommended it's retested and stuff like that. So that's not really a huge concern. Of course, I'm going to stay at it, trying to keep the inflammation low. And when I came out of surgery, I was kind of going super low fiber, and I've been working towards more and more fiber, which can cause like bloating, and bloating can kind of like thin the epithelial or whatever, the wall of the bowel. It can cause like leaky gut, just too much bloating, because it's kind of like mechanically stretching it out and thinning it. So, but it's kind of a catch-22, because without enough fiber, I mean, this is obviously the carnivore community wouldn't agree, and you can get like, I think the long-term studies are kind of out personally on that, and I'm okay with like the diet variation idea where you kind of bounce between diets. But unless you're living in Alaska, I personally don't think carnivore is like, every time you eat fiber you don't feel well. That to me doesn't seem healed. So I have been working towards more fibers for multiple reasons. You can read why fiber is so good for your bacteria in your gut. And I'm working my way back to a Daniel diet. I want to kind of finish what I started. So I actually have done a couple days of it, which I'll just get into in a different clip. But my testing came back, and I have either a recurrent or another same infection of Klebsiella, which I do believe we had a household infection before all of this started, before any of my sickness started, because when I soon thereafter needed a fecal transplant and ran tests on my husband and son, they had it in their gut. So they were disqualified, and mine, they range it at 1 + 2 + 3 + 4 +, mine is 4+ right now. And it's highly associated with like IBD patients, and it burrows in the biofilm, so it's very hard to kill. So there's that one. And then the other one, Morganella, I must have picked that up at the hospital with this last surgery, because I've never had that before, and I don't think I've had, maybe when I got the ostomy I could have picked it up. So it's like kind of like a known hospital-borne bacteria, and it's also 4+. So I am kind of playing the long game on those with natural remedies, because I am actually pretty stable. My gut's pretty stable, and in the past I've been too aggressive, which has gotten me into more trouble. So kind of cycling around on like oregano, berberine, garlic, allicin, or however you pronounce that, the active component of garlic in higher doses, and grapefruit seed extract with binders and expellers, and that is fine. And then lots of probiotic, right? And so fermented foods that I can manage, and good quality probiotics. So the biggest concern, though, however, was I ended up with a parasite on my biotech report that is a type of roundworm. And I actually, when I had ran a report before, I never ran this extended parasite panel. So it could have been there even like preceding the Klebsiella infection, way before. This could go back to, because it's a very rare roundworm that's not from here. It's found in like tropical environments. And I have some very acute recollections of being very sick overseas before I had kids, in particular Thailand. And it's most likely, it was just like a missions trip, and we were in some pretty rugged and unsanitary conditions, and it most likely and most times enters actually through the feet people's feet, their skin. So if you ever see like red itchy rashes that come up and then go, there is a chance that parasites have entered your bloodstream. So anyway, this one is like a certain kind of like Strongyloides. It's a type of Strongyloides that's like, it actually homes up in, it likes the liver. It can do it in other organs, and it works to shut them down. So that might be an actual like undercurrent of why they had no idea why my liver acted the way it did with my first surgery. And so and they couldn't detect anything, so it could have been parasitic. And a lot of people actually believe that autoimmune conditions are parasites that have hijacked the immune system. So it's just very interesting. So the treatment that is common for this and effective is ivermectin, as long as you don't have what they call a super infection. But I don't have the symptoms of it having become a super infection necessarily. I could be quite infected, but I don't know. And it just keeps recirculating, actually, often without even won't even be in your stool, the larva, because it can enter back through the intestinal walls. That's its game plan, stay in the system. So I did try to run some like tests in conjunction through my GP. He was somewhat he was accommodating, but he had a different perspective than my naturopath, and I would agree with my naturopath on, I think a serology or blood test would have offered us some information we needed, but because it's inconclusive, but in conjunction with the other test, it would have been pretty conclusive. Anyways, just to verify, but in any case, because it was a 4+ infection, I'm pretty quite sure that's what's going on. So I'm kind of on my own to treat that. So that's kind of what I'll be working on, but I am pretty stable. And so I'm just going to, again, try, that one is, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive with, because it has to be killed without anything left behind. It's not like a slowly crowded out method would work. I guess maybe you could knock it down, but I want that one bye-bye. So that's the one I'm focused on. So we'll probably do some retesting, but it probably wouldn't be for like 6 months or more. I don't know. So we'll see. And maybe I wouldn't even retest if I kind of just get myself on some annual protocols and I can see like market improvements. So I don't know. We'll see. Because it's not cheap. All this stuff is not free. So yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of the health update. I'm doing well, and I don't really spend my days thinking a ton about it. I do a number of things every day for my health, but they kind of become somewhat habitual, and it's the tweaking that takes a little bit of mental energy sometimes, but I'm doing good. So that's kind of my update, and yeah. All right, take care.